of people in BC eyeing property south of the border, too. David Altro is an expert on cross-border tax issues and author of the book called Owning U.S. Property the Canadian Way. Great to have you with us, David.
Thank you very much, Amanda. Great to be back.
Those numbers really do speak to a huge amount of demand. So I want to start with what you're seeing and whether it's changed at all recently. Is this something that's been kind of a steady flow for the last couple of years?
You're right, Amanda. It's been a steady flow for the last couple of years. There's been a tremendous increase in the last couple of years. Canadians buying for the reasons of the Canadian dollar being so strong, and all the U.S. real estate is on sale. Market prices are way down, as you've mentioned, and Canadians are buying like crazy. But they're always asking, how should I buy it? How should I own it? Should I have it in a corporation? Should I have it in a trust? Should we buy it personally? What if I'm renting it out? What if I pass away? So there's so many questions. So what did I do? I wrote a book on it so that I could help people understand what is the better way to own it. But of course, it's always based on your facts, exactly your situation, why you're buying. Is it a flip? Is it a long-term hold? Are you buying for rental? Are you passing it on to your kids? A lot of different issues that come up.
Well, let me ask you some basic questions, because most Canadians that are buying U.S. real estate are doing it in warmer climates. Phoenix, Florida, perhaps Southern California. I'm asking myself now as an investor of the asset class of housing, what is the stimulus that's going to make it go up in value over the next 5 years? And why shouldn't I simply rent? Why don't I just rent my condo in Florida, which, by the way, I've been doing. It's gone down 1% a month for the last 3 years in value.
Well, Kevin, some people do like the idea of renting, and I don't have a problem with it. We're not realtors. We don't sell real estate. We represent people. We're lawyers. So if the people want to rent, we don't have a problem with that. But a lot of people buy because they feel today the market's low and it's going to go up. So there's going to be a capital appreciation. There's going to be a bounce. Is it 5 years? Is it 10 years? I really don't know. So they buy for that reason. Others buy because they like the warm weather. They're snowbirds now, or they're going to be snowbirds, and they want to get in when they can afford to buy. These are some of the reasons. People like to have a place where they can have their own golf clubs and have their own clothes in the apartment. So everyone has a different reason for buying.
And let's talk about some of the pitfalls. The appeal may be obvious, that you get these bargains and you think they're going to appreciate in value. What do Canadians need to know? What's some of the most important things that you tell people in your book and out of your book about buying property in the U.S.?
Need to buy it in the right structure, Amanda. You don't want to own it in your name personally. Why not? If you pass away, we have something in Florida called probate. We have it in California, and Texas, and Arizona, everywhere. We also have it in Canada, in Ontario. It's 1.5% tax. In Florida, it can run up to 3%. In California, 4%. So we don't want to own it personally. There's U.S. estate tax. If you pass away, your estate in Florida or wherever in the U.S. may be subject to U.S. estate tax. So these are huge issues. So if you have it in the right structure, such as a cross-border trust, you're going to avoid those problems, and you can pass it on to your kids and not have tax and not have probate.
So really, this issue around taxation is one that Canadians probably aren't aware of. You're saying that if you own assets in the United States, which still has a state tax, you could actually pay up to 35% of the value when you die. Is that essentially what you've just said?
That is correct. Here's the rule. It's a little bit of a two-step rule. If you're Canadian and you have U.S. real estate upon death, if the value of the U.S. real estate at date of death is under $60,000, there is no U.S. estate tax. But if it's over $60,000, and let's face it, most people that buy when they pass away, they're going to have a property over $60,000, especially if they like to have a roof on it. Then the second question is, what is the worldwide estate? The IRS gives Canadians, under our special treaty, an exemption if their worldwide estate is under $5 million. So fantastic. A lot of Canadians have estates under $5 million. But unfortunately, on January 1st, 2013, that exemption on a $5 million is moving down to $1 million. So after January 1st, 2013, if a Canadian passes away with, let's say, a $500,000 U.S. property and a worldwide estate of $5 million or $3 million or $7 million, that person's going to have tax by the IRS, but only on the U.S. property. But as you say, it's up to 35% until January 2013. But after January 2013, Kevin, that tax rate is going up to a max of 55%.
So let's talk about capital gains as well. Obviously, if this is a second property or an investment property, people need to be aware that there could be some associated gains. As you answer, can you also give a nod to whether or not you think these prices of these really depressed real estate will rise in a hurry, or are you talking about a very long time before you get back to sort of the pre-correction levels?
Well, you raised two issues. One is what kind of capital gain tax rates are, and when is it going to go up in value. I have no crystal ball. As I said before, I'm not a realtor, so I don't tell people when it's going to go up. I tell people that the market's low, that there's no panic. The market's going to stay low for a while. Make low offers. Learn your product really well before you make an offer. When do I think it's going to go up? I would say certainly not before 5 years. Will it be 10 years? It might be. I really am not sure. I do figure that the U.S. dollar will rise again one day, and the U.S. market will rise again. As far as the capital gain tax rate, okay, here's a key thing. If you have a gain, sure, you'll pay capital gain tax to the IRS. That's not a problem. And here's the good news. If you have it in a cross-border trust, the tax rate by the IRS is only 15%. If you owned it in a corporation, which some Canadians do, the tax rate will be 40% in Florida. That's a huge difference. Now, the other issue is really important, is if you do have it in a trust, it has to be a cross-border trust. Because if it's the wrong kind of a trust, you'll pay capital gain tax in the States, capital gain tax in Canada, and not get a credit. The objective is to get a credit in Canada for the tax you paid to avoid the dreaded double taxation.
All right. David, it's all good advice. We appreciate you joining us for this.
Thank you very much.
The book is called Owning U.S. Property the Canadian Way. David Altro, its author. Coming up after the break, an Aussie hotel